In this webinar, we'll be discussing Teach Like a Pirate. A little about me. My name is Emily Darney, and I'm a student at NC State University in the MAT program, and I'm studying elementary education. About the book, the title is Teach Like a Pirate, and it's written by Dave Burgess. Early on in the book, he discusses why he chose pirate. Pirates are daring, adventurous, and willing to set forth into uncharted territories with no guarantee of success. They reject the status quo and refuse to conform to any society that stifles creativity and independence. They are entrepreneurs who take risks and are willing to travel to the ends of the earth for what they value. And that describes his experience as a teacher. He has been a teacher for 16 years, teaching history at a high school in California, and he pushes the limits in his classroom with creativity, and this really just captures his experience there. The central premises of this book are it increases student engagement, boosts creativity, and transforms the life of educators. The hope is that it leads teachers to become more passionate, creative, and fulfilled in their roles, and that it will help teachers create an inviting, engaging, and empowering classroom climate for their students. The four main points that I took away from this book were the pirate system and philosophy, that creativity is in everyone, crafting engaging lessons, and take action. And I'll be discussing each of these main points on the following slides. The pirate system, he broke down the word into an acronym and used these 6 words to describe what the system is. I'll read them to you and then I'll give brief descriptions of each word. He has used a whole chapter to explain each one, which we don't have time for today, but hopefully the description will give you an idea. The first word is passion, immersion, rapport, ask and analyze, transformation, and enthusiasm. For passion, we aren't passionate about everything we teach, but we can maintain passion all the time. There are 3 different kinds of passion that Dave Burgess believes teachers have. They include content passion, professional passion, and personal passion. Passion sustains teachers through teaching and obstacles in their career. For immersion, it talks about giving yourself up to the moment and being fully present with your students. Immersion involves participating in the action. An instructor who is fully immersed in the moment has a special intensity that resonates in the classroom. It allows teachers to morph lukewarm lessons into lessons that make an impact. Rapport. An engaged student is rarely a behavior problem. You can't effectively develop engaging presentations unless you spend time and effort to find out what students already find engaging. Spend less time trying to get students interested in what you are presenting and more time making connections between what you're presenting and what they're already interested in. Building rapport will create student buy-in. It creates a safe and supportive environment where students feel valued. Ask and analyze. This will be a brief description. I'll discuss further in the next slide. The types of questions we ask determine the types of answers we receive. Asking questions is especially important in the area of creativity. Transformation. School is filled with monotony for many students. Transform your class so that it stands out for your students and guarantee that your message is received in a culture that is increasingly distracted. Sometimes that means we need to change our students' perception of the material we're teaching through passion, enthusiasm, powerful presentations, and creativity to turn boring lessons into pirate treasure. And lastly, we have enthusiasm. Excellence as a teacher starts with passion and is driven home with enthusiasm. Commit to being on in the classroom. You can act as if you have enthusiasm even if you don't in that moment. Your enthusiasm is the single most powerful tool to influence your classroom. The second main point that I took away from this book is that creativity is in everyone. Teachers want to know how to be more creative with their lessons, yet many don't believe they are creative people. According to Dave Burgess, that's not true. We all have the ability to be creative. If we ask questions that lead to creative, outside-of-the-box thinking, then our minds will provide us with creative, outside-of-the-box ideas. Creative inspiration is constantly at our disposal, but we will never see it unless we actively and consistently attempt to create. So this ties into the previous slide. The A part of Pirate, Ask and Analyze. The chapter where he described Ask and Analyze primarily focuses on creativity. And he, in his experience and in his professional development speaking experience, he hears many teachers saying that they're not creative, that it's easier for him because he's creative, and he is very against that idea that all people can be creative, and it's just a matter of where we're focusing our attention, and that once we focus our attention on creativity, we're going to start finding inspiration everywhere we go. The third main point that I took away from the book is crafting engaging lessons. A quote that he opened this section of the book off with is by Hendrik John Clark, and it says, "A good teacher, like a good entertainer, first must hold his audience's attention." And that's the quote. Engaging lessons pull students into the material and help them retain and understand what you're teaching them. Many times, teachers focus on content and technique method when developing lessons. These are the purple and green circles at the bottom of the Venn diagram on your screen. The third circle, which is presentation, is a critical element that many teachers miss. Teachers can use presentation to hook students and draw them in. By adding presentational elements, teachers will create a dynamic and well-rounded lesson that can be highly engaging, easily memorable, and powerfully impactful for students. In this book, Burgess provides over 100 ideas, or presentational hooks, to draw students into content and questions that will help teachers devise ways to incorporate the ideas into their own lessons. A few of my favorite hooks were, can we turn the room into a giant opinion meter and have students move to one side or the other based on the statement? Can students change the lyrics to popular songs to reflect course content? What current events are related to this lesson? If I were throwing a theme party at my house for this subject, what would I do? Can I cue students to make certain motions or sounds at key points? Can I storm up and down the rows and use the whole room as my platform? And these are just 5 or 6 of literally over 100. I counted them. And the fourth main point that I had from this book was take action. A question that many teachers ask Dave Burgess is, where and when should you start teaching like a pirate? And he says right here and right now that starting may well be one of the most difficult and underappreciated skills of all. And so it's the hardest step, and if you take the hardest step, it should be easier, hopefully. But there are 5 general things that hold people back. They are fear of failure, believing you have to figure it all out before you begin, perfectionism, lack of focus, or fear of criticism or ridicule. So he has the idea that the best way to overcome fear, solidify commitment to achieving goals, and overcome obstacles is to just take action. That you just have to try, and it was really encouraging in the book because he gave examples of all the times he's failed. So when you see an author giving that, I feel like it's really encouraging for teachers. 2 teaching ideas that I gathered from this book that I would like to apply in my career when I become a teacher. The first one is to be willing to have fun in the process. The author says that the classroom is his stage. He's the director and the actor. He sets up scenes and plays different roles and pushes the limits of creativeness in the classroom. So, for example, he has students reenact trench warfare to teach about World War I. He transforms his classroom into a speakeasy complete with a juice bar to teach about the 1920s. And he turns into a superhero called Tin Man to teach the Bill of Rights. He encourages teachers not to take presentational hooks too seriously and be willing to have fun in the process. The second teaching idea that I took away from this book is that out of the ordinary classrooms help students learn. So as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, it's easy for many students to feel that school is monotonous and boring. Many subjects are taught to the test and not absorbed to be used later in the student's life. So by using excitement, engagement, and entertainment in the classroom, students can have a learning experience that invites them to hold on to what they learn and also grow a love of learning. And the last thing I'll leave you with is a quote from the book. At some point in your career, you have to decide if you care more about teaching to tests or teaching to kids. My decision was made a long time ago. Thanks for your time.